Hello friends and welcome back to Extra Coding YouTube channel by Adrika Bhadoria. So friends, in today's video we're gonna learn about scope of variables. So without wasting any time, let's start the session. So here, let's make a new file, tut34.py. Okay. Now here, let's define a function test. Okay. We are defining it just for testing. That's why. Okay. Now here, let's make a variable number. Num to be 10. Okay, and here we are return num. Okay, now let's copy this and paste it here. Here let's name it test1 and here let's name it test2. Okay, so now let's remove this one and here let's return num. Okay, so do you think that we can return this num, we can use this num from test1 function in test2 function? We can't do it, right? Let me show it to you. See, it is throwing an error, but we haven't printed, that's why. But if we see in problems panel, it is saying num is not defined. Okay, so let's print this one, then we will got to know print test2. Sorry, test2. See, it is writing num is not defined because we cannot use this num in test2 function because it's a part of test1 function. Okay, the scope of this variable is test1 function only. We cannot use num outside this function. If we use it here also, let's comment this one out and let's write here print num. Okay, this variable we are printing it outside the function. See, it is throwing an error. Num is not defined because as I told you, the scope of this variable is inside test1 function only. We cannot use it outside the function. Okay, but if we print here print test1, okay, so as you can see here it is printing 10 and then it is giving the output here. As you can see, print, it is throwing the error. Okay, so first it is giving the output of 10, this one, because it is all right, there isn't any error in it. Okay, we are using the num inside the function only, we are returning it here and we are just printing the function here. Okay, the output of the function, but here we are trying to use the variable outside the test1, that's the function. Okay, so the variables that we use inside the function only, we cannot use them outside the function, those are called local variables. The scope of these variables are inside that block of code only. Okay, now if I make another variable num only, let's name it num only, num equal to, let's say, 20. Okay, now let's print it. Let's comment this also. Okay, now let's print it, print num. Okay, so what do you think it will print, this num or this num? Yes, it will print this num only, because as I told you that this is a local variable. It cannot be used outside the block of code, okay, outside this function. But this variable can be used. Let me show you. See, it is printing 20 here, okay. So the variables that we can use anywhere, those are called global variables. Global variables. Wait a second. Here, let's comment this out. Okay, these are called global variables and these are called local variables. Now let's comment this out for some time. Okay, here you can see that we have defined a variable num. Okay, and here also the variable is num. We have learned how to change the value of variables, right? We just have to write it like this, equal to. We can change the variable. Suppose if I write here a is equal to 5 and here I write a is equal to 10, and here if I print a, let's run it, it will give me a 10, right? We change it like this. We change the value of variable. Okay, so now let's see whether this global variable, this local variable can change the value of global variable, because as I told you that global variables can be used anywhere in the code. So here let's comment out these two lines, okay, that is print test1 and test2. Here we are calling the test1 and here we are printing the num, this one. So if we run it, wait a second, okay, see, it is not giving any output. Wait a second guys. Okay, so as you can see here, it is giving 10 here and 20. It is the test1 is returning 10 and num is returning 20. So why isn't the value of num is changing? We can change the value of this num by defining the variable global. See, global num. Okay, so now in our test1 we are telling the function that we are using this num only, the global variable num. So now all the operations now the test1 will do, it will do on num only, okay, number, which is the global variable. Now if I run it, you can see we are getting 10 and 10. It is also returning 10 and it is also printing 10. Why? Because now our test1, the function, is doing operations on this global variable num. So now as we are using this num here, so it has changed the value of our num, that is 20, to 10. Okay, okay, so let me repeat it once again. You can change the value of this global variable or any other global variable that you have defined in a function. Okay, you can change the value of global variable in a function, but what you have to do is you have to tell the function that you are using the global variable only. Okay, after that whatever the test one will perform, it will perform on the global variable only. Let it be changing the variable, okay, it will change the variable, or it will do any other function that you are making it do. Okay, now let's remove this one, or let's just comment this out. Now if we run it, see, wait a second, see, it is returning 2020 only because it is using this global variable. Okay, so hope I made myself clear. Now if I cut it from here and paste it here, so what do you think it will return? It will print. What do you think? See, it will print 20 and 10. Why is it printing 20 and 10? Because the value of my num will only change when my function will be called. So here my function is not called. That's why the value of my number is not changed. That's why it is printing 20. Okay. Now after we have called the test1 and paste it here, it will give 10. The value of num will be 10 after calling the function. See, first it is 20 and then 10, 10. Okay. So hope I made myself clear, and now you are able to understand what are global variables, what are local variables, and how to use them. So see you in my next video, guys. Thank you so much for being with me until the end of the session. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel.